Hello everyone! I hope you're ready for another adventure because today Wayne reads Benjamin Bunny, a Peter Rabbit Tale by Beatrix Potter. Always remember that as we go along with these stories, if you want to follow along with the adventures we're reading, all you have to do is press the CC button in order to follow along in your YouTube link. Now I think that North Star is going to be outstanding for this adventure. Are you ready to join us today, North Star? North Star is ready. So let's jump in. Benjamin Bunny. One morning, Benjamin Bunny sat in the sun by the side of the road. He picked his ears to the trot of a pony in a cart. Mr. McGregor was driving the pony cart, and beside him sat Mrs. McGregor, wearing her best bonnet. As soon as they had passed, Benjamin Bunny got an idea. With a hop, skip, and a jump, he set off to visit his cousins, who lived in the woods behind Mr. McGregor's garden. Benjamin's aunt, old Mrs. Rabbit, made her living by knitting mittens and scarves, but Benjamin had not come to visit his aunt. He was looking for his cousin, Peter. He went around the back to the fir tree and nearly stumbled over Peter. Peter was sitting by himself, but he didn't look too happy. He was dressed only in a cotton handkerchief, which he held tightly around him. "Peter," whispered Benjamin, "where are your clothes?" Peter told Benjamin how he had got lost his shoes. Mr. McGregor, using them as a scarecrow, Benjamin said he had seen Mrs. McGregor wearing her best bonnet, so the McGregors would probably be gone all day. He and Peter could go to Mr. McGregor's garden and rescue Peter's clothes. Peter and Benjamin climbed Mr. McGregor's garden's wall and saw that Peter's coat and shoes hanging like a scarecrow. A knitted cap topped off the scarecrow's outfit. Benjamin said, "We'll get dirty if we squeeze them under the gate. We should climb down the pear tree." Peter fell into the garden head first, but he landed on a soft lettuce bed. They took Peter's clothes off the scarecrow's poles. It had rained, and his clothes were full of water. His coat had shrunk, and the bottoms were missing. Benjamin tried on the cap. It was a bit too big for him. Now that Peter had his clothes, they could use the handkerchief for something else. Benjamin began to fill the red handkerchief with onions as a present for Peter's mother. They felt perfectly at home and ate lettuce leaf. Benjamin said he often came to Mr. McGregor's garden with his father to get lettuce for their dinner. Mr. McGregor's lettuce was certainly very tasty. Peter did not eat anything, though. He was not enjoying himself. He kept hearing noises and wanted to go home. The little bunnies knew they would not be able to climb up the pear tree with their bundled onions. So they walked to the other end of the garden, among the flower pots, baskets, and tools. Peter heard more noises than ever. Suddenly, his eyes were as big as lollipops. Benjamin took one look, then he and Peter hid themselves in the onions under a large basket. They had seen a big barn cat napping in the afternoon sun. The cat woke and stretched. She walked to the upside-down basket and gave it a sniff. She sat right down on the top of the basket. She must have liked the smell of the onions, and there she sat for 5 hours. The sun was setting over the trees in the basket, but the cat still sat on the basket. Peter and Benjamin were trapped. It was quite dark, and the smell of onions was awful. Peter Rabbit and Benjamin Bunny began to cry. Through their tears, the two bunnies heard a pitter-patter of stones falling from the other side of the garden. The cat looked up and saw old Mr. Benjamin Bunny walking along the top of the wall looking for his son. Old Mr. Benjamin Bunny was not afraid of cats at all. He jumped from the wall onto the cat and pushed her off the basket. Then he kicked her into the greenhouse, scratching off a bit of her fur. The cat was so surprised to scratch back. After Mr. Bunny had locked the greenhouse door, he came back to the basket and pulled Benjamin and Peter out by the ears and scolded the two bad rabbits all the way home. When Mr. McGregor returned, he was puzzled over the scarecrow and about the cat being locked in the greenhouse. And as for old Mrs. Rabbit, She was so glad to see Peter, she quite forgot to scold him for wandering off. The end. What do you think about the story with Benjamin Bunny and his cousin Peter? I liked that part too. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us as well, here with Wayne Reads. We can't wait to see you for the next adventure. Take care. Bye-bye.